Hi and welcome back to Sustainable Teacher. If you are new here, my name is Leticia and I'm glad to meet you. And if you've been here before, I'm happy to see you again. In this video we are going to talk about projects and how to organize teamwork to work in projects, of course for technology subject, but also in any other subject in school or university or even in your future job, in your work. You will work probably in teams and you will need to have this knowledge to work in teams. If this video sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Usually nowadays when you have to do a project, that means working with your team, not alone, because projects are really ambitious to be done only by one person. Usually it's done by 2, 3 or 4 people at least. So the thing is that if we want to do it properly and if we want to work all smoothly, it is necessary to have roles to divide our functions between team members. And which functions are these? The first person in a team is the coordinator. The coordinator or general manager is the person in charge of checking that everyone is working on the part that has been assigned to that person and that every part will be finished on time for the deadline to hand in your homework or your project. It depends. Of course, the coordinator should do all the other functions because you are working in teams, and in your team each person should do all the function in each step.
I'm gonna save you! This guy comes over here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna pull a zap thing, that's right through him, right over here.
Then another important person is the secretary. It's just, or you can call it as you want, but it's the person in charge of keeping all the papers, all the documents, all the reports that you are creating or that you need for your project. Because if one person keeps one paper and another person keeps another paper and another person keeps another paper, in the end your paper will be lost because no one will know who has each paper. And then we have 3 types of managers: the tool manager, the material manager, and the cleaning and safety manager. These managers are in charge of being sure that you have all the tools, all the materials, and all the safety measures that you will need for your project. Of course, everyone will touch the tools, of course, everyone will touch the materials, and you will work together. And of course, everyone will clean. Then we have another case, because these roles are perfect if you are working in a workshop, if you are doing a physical project. But what happens if you are doing a virtual project? You don't need a tool manager. So in this case, of course, you will need the coordinator and the secretary, but then you need a computer manager, which is that the person that will say that you have all the software you need, that you have internet, that your computer is working properly. So now that you know which are the roles in a team, let's talk about the steps, the stages of a project. Usually we can say that we have 6 stages, and we will learn a little bit about each one. So the first one is developing ideas or finding solutions to your problem. And you will have to do a brainstorm with your team to think about ideas or solutions if you have to find the solution to a problem to make your project. That's the first step. Of course, for this step, you can look for information on the internet, in your book, ask other people. It's a step of searching information, looking for information. The second step is analyzing the project, your problem or what you have to do. And you can analyze it from different points of view. You can analyze it from the methodological point of view. Which method will you use to solve this problem or to make this project? Technically, you will have to decide which technique will you use. Imagine you have to build a bridge. You can use paper, you can use wood, you can use metal, plastic, and you will have to find the techniques to work with this. The third step is designing your project. You have to draw, make sketches and diagrams of all the steps, all of the pieces of your structures, of everything you will have to do. It is important to draw it, to make it, before doing it real, watching it in your paper and thinking, how are you going to do this? And about this we will talk in another video, so I'm going to leave this just in here. The fourth step is planning and preparing. You will plan how are you going to do each step for your project. You will prepare all the materials, and of course you will think you may think that you are going to do something in one way, and when you start doing it like physically, you will realize that you can't do it this way, and you will do it another way. And it doesn't matter, it's okay, it's normal, and you will say in your final report, I thought I was going to do this, but in the end I did this. The fifth step is finally, of course, performing your project, doing your project and creating it. The sixth step is writing your report, your final report. Steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 should be already written, but in your final report you will make a summary of all these steps, and of course you will explain what did you do in the performance step, what did it change, why did you have to change it, and the final result. Today I want to focus on the fourth step, planning and preparing. When you have to plan a project, you have to think about how to do this. It's important to have strategies to think about this.
It's up to me to come up with a strategy.
And I'm going to tell you 4 strategies to do this. The first strategy is looking for an analogy, something that is similar, that it's known to you, already to you, and that you can think up from that point. The second strategy, and sometimes it's not the fastest one, you will make a lot of errors and it's going to be slow, but sometimes it's the only one that you can do, is trial and error. That means that you try to do something, you have an error, and you learn about this. And then you try to do something new, there is a new error, and you learn about this. And in the end, you will make all the process, trying things, making errors, trying things and making errors again, until you learn how to do all the steps in your project. The third strategy is division. Sometimes if your project is huge, you have to divide your project in small steps to make it possible. And when you have all your parts, you join them, okay? And the fourth strategy, it could be top-down or down-top strategy, and it means that you can start from the bottom and going to the top, but sometimes it makes more sense starting in the top and going to the bottom. For instance, if you want to build a house, of course you will start by the bottom and finish in the top, on the roof. But sometimes the project is so complex that you can see the bottom. So you start by the final step, and you are going to do it the steps in a reversed way to arrive to get to the base. It doesn't mean like going physically from the top to the bottom. It's just starting by the end of your project, or the theoretically end of your project, and get to the beginning. Once that you have your strategy, that you have decided your strategy, you have to write all your steps, as I told you in two slides before. And a good way of doing this is with algorithms. Algorithms is just a way of expressing the steps, the progress of an action. They are using computers, they are the way that computers understand all the instructions for what they have to do. But we can use algorithms in projects to plan the performance of our project. And there are some symbols that we should understand, because they are always used this way. So in this way, if you are working in a project, lots of people are working in this project, everyone will understand what each step means and what they have to do. So you have all the symbols in here, The first one is the oval, is the one that indicates the start or the end of your project. Then the arrows indicate the flow, the way you are going to do your project. Then rectangles are actions. If you find a rectangle, that means that you have to do something. And then we have rhomboids, and they are input or output data that you need or that you will get at that step in your project. Rhombus are questions or decision points. In that step, you will have to question, to ask something to yourself to continue, or you will have to make a decision to continue. And finally, circles. Circles are connectors between different parts of your flow. Sometimes you have to start doing something, like in the division strategy, you have to start doing something in separate ways, and there will be a point in which they will join. And that join is represented by a circle, okay? I hope you like this video and that now you understand better how to do teamwork. What do you need to do your team, to create your team, and your steps to do your project. And of course the strategies that you need to plan and prepare for your project. Leave in the comments if you've ever done a project this way before, or if you knew about algorithms, about strategies to design, to think about your project. And of course, see you soon.